64 Tacos Podcasts presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 21. The National Never Tear Us Apart.
Hello, welcome back to Is This Song Good podcast from the 64 Tacos podcasts. This time we're doing another cover for our covers series. The song is my pick, The National, with the song Never Tear Us Apart. The original was by INXS from, I believe, 1987's Kick album. And I always really enjoyed the original. And then when I saw this come out I think it was last year, I gave it a listen and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then when we started doing these covers for the series, I thought about it again, and then I revisited it, and I thought, hey, yeah, there's something cool going on there. So yeah, what do you guys think about it?
Well, the INXS version is one of my favorite songs from early childhood. Michael Hutchence is the perfect late 80s vocalist. And anytime this song comes on, I absolutely love it. Turn it up, listen to it. Might even sit in the car in the driveway waiting for it to finish. That's how much I love it. And so I was really nervous to hear another version of it because my standard is so high for this. And then the singer, I don't know if I know the National songs. Maybe I do. I couldn't tell you what they are if I do. But the singer just comes in with this voice that I wouldn't say is better than Hutchins, but matches it as far as enjoyability is concerned. And they switched the music all up. They took all the 80s out of it. Mm-hmm. And so that was a really neat twist. And then the moment, my one of my all-time favorite music moments is when the saxophone comes in halfway through, and then they just kind of muted that and muddled it, and that kind of made me sad. But other than that, I really enjoyed the Nationals version of it.
Yeah, so they took all the 80s out, but then they left a drum machine, which is not even like, I mean, I'm not a huge National fan. I know Zach, you listen to them more probably than I do, but I do know the National. I like a few of their songs a lot. I Need My Girl in particular is one of my favorite songs from the last 10 years. But I do know them, and they do sometimes do some of that stuff. Zach, you can speak to that more, but it's not necessarily what they always do. So it was an interesting choice that, for me, when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, that's not exactly what I expected. But I do really like the double layered octave down thing, because is it Matt Berninger? Is that his name?
Yep.
The lead singer?
Berninger.
Berninger, yep. He has like a really nice baritone, a deeper voice. And I thought it was interesting that he went low and high. It was kind of a neat thing, and it when you listen to it on headphones, it's even more effective. Because I didn't even catch it the first time I heard it, but I thought it was interesting that they using the drum machine really smoothed it out. The arresting thing to me about the original, which I really like, I just remember watching INXS videos on MTV when I was 10. That's kind of like a part of my sort of memory of music when I was just trying to figure out what music was. And yeah, it's a great band, a great song. One of the really striking things about it, and you're right, Dave, the best moment is probably that little drum fill into the saxophone solo.
Yes.
2/3 of the way through. That's a great moment. Absolutely. But the thing that's interesting about INXS is that sort of drama, that sort of rhythm where they'll cut it off and then they'll come back in with the do 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 doom boom, and they absolutely smooth that out of the song. And it's still really cool. It's just a completely different take, sort of like a sort of steady march rather than a sort of like a waxing and waning, sort of in and out kind of thing that INXS did. And I'm not sure that the cover reaches the heights of the original, but I do think it's a very good, enjoyable version of the song, and I would totally listen to it again. It's just a different way to experience it. It's longer and a little more drawn out and a little less, sort of dynamic.
Yeah. I don't think it can get to the original, because the original is just so iconic. I mean, it's been in movies, it's been in video games. It's just, it had heavy radio play when it first came out, and even since then, it's pretty, played regularly. Yep. And I do agree that like the sax solo is such a great part of the song, and then to have it kind of like, I think it was essentially replaced with guitars, if I was hearing it correctly, because it didn't really sound like a saxophone. And that was an interesting idea, but I think they should have elevated it and just like even tried to go further with it, like just really wailed on it to try and do that sax solo more justice. And yeah, I do think the vocal performance was very good. It's not quite as great as Michael Hutchinson's, because I mean he has this just amazing voice, but it's pretty close. Matt Berninger does some cool stuff, and it sounds good to my ears. And I think the only thing that really did kind of was distracting was like the repetitive drums from doing the drum machine. And I'm curious why they did that, because I'm pretty sure they have a competent drummer.
Yeah, they do.
As part of their band. So I maybe it was a like a COVID.
Maybe it
thing
was their machina phase.
Or maybe they just couldn't all get together and they just started sending stuff around, and the drummer was like, okay, how about I just do a drum track with my drum machine instead of recording the whole part. Whatever. I mean, I think that's the only real thing that kind of detracts for me from the song, but overall I thought it was really enjoyable, and I thought it was a fun alternative to the original. If you want to hear that same sort of ominous kind of bittersweet thing that INXS was doing, but from a different perspective, from an indie rock band's perspective.
Yeah. And so I think it's always kind of good when you take a song that you know and love and someone does like a slow, drawn out version of it. I don't think that's ever bad, because it just sort of like, it's often not as interesting as the original, but like it's this sort of you get to sort of enjoy the song for longer, or like it comes a little, I don't know, like there's something about that sort of slowing it down a little bit and dragging it out. And the other thing I was going to mention, it just occurred to me, is the only other moment in the song that competes with the sax solo is when he's coming out of that second or third verse, and Hutchins sings what does he say? He says, "We all have wings, but some of us don't know why." And he sings it high and goes exactly right into the chorus. That actually might be my favorite part of the song. It's very close with the sax solo, and that's just not really there in the same sort of dramatic moment in that in the cover. But even so, it's it's enjoyable to hear it sort of like done, sort of deconstructed a little bit.
Yeah, it was a good cover. I definitely enjoyed it. If I had to pick between the two, it's INXS every time.
Yeah,
but I would definitely put the Nationals version on a playlist, or listen to it if it comes up, on a random radio station or something like that. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I would say it is good.
Yeah, I agree. Good, but the original's better. And I it's interesting that INXS, I don't know that I would have pegged them for being one of the sort of late 80s bands that would have aged the best, but like radio bands, like big hits. But I still love like their songs still sound fresh, because they were different from what other people were doing at the time. The sort of combination of like groove with the horn, the sax, and the Hutchins thing. I don't know, but it's funny how well that band still holds up. And it's not just this song. It's pretty much all of their singles. Whenever they come on, I always turn it up.
Yep.
Like even now, 25, 30 years later.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's a great one. All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this one up, and next week we're gonna follow Dan's love of fast, upbeat songs being stretched out into longer, more soothing versions, with Joe Cocker's cover of the Beatles song "With a Little Help from My Friends."
Heck yeah!
So tune in for that next week.
All right.
I caught it on audio.